Hello, everybody. My name is William Fleming, and I am a game development student at Full Sail University. And this month, I was part of Team Diamond working on the Scraps project for DES3. So, Scraps is a post apocalyptic first person shooter survival game. The project itself was developed and handed to us with basic assets, and our job was to create a level and swap in finalized assets after designing and developing everything. So this Team Diamond was myself, Cole Jeffco, Samuel Gadsden, Nicosia DaCosta, and Dustin Horan. And so this slideshow is going to go through my personal contributions to the project, and then we will finish out with a full playthrough of the level that we created. So the first piece that I worked on here was what we called the gazebo. So this was an area that was actually blocked out by Cole first, and then I came in and used jump pads that were created by Dustin to create an action block here. So this sort of introduces the player to the level, gets them a feel for maneuvering and how these jump pads are going to work. These did end up altering from this functionality by the end of the project, and I made those alterations to Dustin's blueprints, but for the most part I was just sort of laying everything out here. And then this goes right into the second section that I worked on, which was what we call the ruin courtyard, or the castle ruins. So I did this whole section myself. I blocked out the area to begin with, and then added the sort of platforming challenge to this. This did ultimately end up changing for flow more than anything. We sort of simplified everything, and you'll see that when we get to asset swapping. But again, that was a whole section that I created. And then I also created the tunnel that is featured as the exit of the level. So this was, again, my project start to finish. I did the layout, the boat, and the water that you see there. As far as mechanics for our levels go, I contributed to the elevator that leads us into and out of the lab that is hidden below the rest of the level. This was an idea from Sam, and he started implementing it but had some issues getting it to work, so I built my own version of it. But it's got the interactive button, and it drops the player rather quickly up and down because it is a pretty long shaft. I didn't want that journey to take too long. But I've included the blueprint here so you can see it's sort of just a timeline that will move the elevator based on a target location. So there's a separate mesh for the target location that the elevator needs to move to, and it will move depending on whether it's starting or ending there. The second mechanic that I introduced that we actually only ended up using once right here at the exit of the level is laser mechanic. So this is actually 3 separate blueprints. There is a laser emitter that is triggered by, in this case, a pressure plate, or it could be a switch, that will spawn a laser. There's the laser itself, and then there is a target blueprint that is sort of adjustable, I guess. So you can plug in whatever mesh you want to match your game aesthetic or design portfolio. And then there is functionality when it's interacted with by the laser blueprint. As far as asset replacement, I went back to the gazebo where I had done the action block and swapped out a lot of the assets there. So I have this sort of modern meets ancient clash where the modern world is collapsing after the fall from the Scraps design document, and sort of running into the historic area. So you've got some rundown modern buildings and a lot of debris kind of sprinkled throughout here. Then you get into the courtyard, which again is more of the ancient part. So you've got these modular old town sort of building structures, and a barricade made of materials from both sides, so modern boxes and barrels and older crates and that sort of thing. Again, we simplified the action block here for flow, so the player just has to make their way over this barricade. There is also that building in the back of the picture. The upper level can be reached by a jump pad, and there are some collectibles hidden there. And then where I spent most of my time on this level was in the sort of central node, which was what we were calling the ancient city. So again, I've got these modular brick and stone building pieces that I've tried to build kind of an old European Renaissance feel, as well as this courtyard with the fountain and the trees in the center there. And then lastly, I worked on replacing assets in the tunnel. So as you come out of the elevator, and you can actually see the target mesh there in this editor view, but there's just a whole bunch of stone, so it's really dark inside, so I added as many lanterns as I could to sort of brighten that up without overdoing it, but make sure that the player could still see that pressure plate that triggers the laser. And then where the boat is resting, still pretty dark, at least from this view. When the player walks in, sort of in the center of that picture there, they're looking out of the tunnel, so you've got the light coming in from the other end as well. But again, I swapped out most of the assets there, and I think Dustin added a statue from elsewhere in the level to sort of tie things a little more together. So that is what I contributed to this project, and I am now going to transition to the playthrough. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you.